Thank you so much for having me back. It's great to be here, kind of empowering pre-arrival immigrants, recently landed newcomers, whoever is watching, whoever is in whichever stage of their settlement journey. So I'm here again with yet another power-packed LinkedIn presentation, and this time I'm talking about top 5, and I've added a bonus 6 LinkedIn myths which pre-arrival immigrants and recently or newcomers in general have when they are thinking about LinkedIn as a professional tool to accelerate in their career goals. And primarily, the first career goal for any newcomer is to get that skill-specific first job in Canada. So I'll be talking about all these myths and how you can overcome that as well. So I have everything covered up in today's presentation. Introducing myself in the next slide, please. Introducing myself, I am a LinkedIn online trainer for pre-arrival immigrants, recently landed newcomers, or any newcomer who is in an undervalued job. I help immigrant job seeker connect to career opportunities using LinkedIn. Yes, that is my specialty. Being a settled immigrant myself and a LinkedIn trainer, I'm the best of the two worlds. I understand immigrant job search need. So this is a little bit about me. Also, I'm a social media consultant, so I know how the social media part of LinkedIn works as well. So I help you build and scale your presence in front of right professionals and attract those economic opportunities. Next slide, please. Okay, let's talk about mind, things, and needs validations. So numbers are the right way to validate yourself. And these are the numbers which I have predominantly, I open with in all of my presentations, because it tells you why LinkedIn is an undisputed marketplace for you to be on for your professional career goals for your first job here in Canada, because that's where your target audience is. The employers, the hiring managers, the recruiters, the talent acquisition people, the top notch of the business executives, they are on LinkedIn, because in Canada, LinkedIn is treated as a social networking platform where professional comes. Of course, they have a business goal, but they come to network primarily. So right now on LinkedIn, there are 17 million Canadian professional profiles. So a perfect place, a perfect breeding ground for you to network with the right industry specific people, because they come here to network. Also, there are certain numbers released by LinkedIn where they have confirmed that the engagement on LinkedIn, the conversations on LinkedIn have increased year on year. And they've released this number in April this year, where it has increased by 50% year on year. So not only professionals are there, they are observing you, they're networking, but also they're conversing with you. So I think so right now, this is an opportunity presented to pre-arrival immigrants that they can do remote networking. This is an opportunity presented to recently landed newcomer who might be in quarantine to do remote networking. So there are no excuses for you. Get on LinkedIn and start networking with the right people. And LinkedIn is a tool in Canada. LinkedIn is used as a tool by recruiters and talent acquisition partners to vet the people who have formally applied in that 20% of published job market. And recruiters and employers come on LinkedIn to passively find talent for the hidden job market, which is an 80% job market. So LinkedIn is the place where there is a supply of audience you want to interact with, and you are the demand. So let's see how you can excel on LinkedIn. Can I have next slide, please? So the first thing we have already talked to our mind, and we have validated that this is the right platform to be on. Professionals are there, recruiters are there, they're vetting you for application that you have formally applied for, or probably they're passively searching for you. So after that validation, now as a newcomer, this is an advice for your mindset. that when you are coming on LinkedIn to network, you are not only have to adhere to LinkedIn etiquettes, but also you have to create an expectations based on Canadian professional that you're interacting with. So you basically have to learn how LinkedIn etiquette, what LinkedIn etiquettes are, how to behave on this platform, but also how to interact with Canadian professionals, which are very different from how it was or might be in your origin countries. So you basically have to learn two spaces: LinkedIn etiquettes and how Canadian professionals react, what are their expectations, what is their mindset. So combination of both of these will ensure success for you to connect with them, converse with them. So be prepared to unlearn what you had in your origin country and to learn how it is done on LinkedIn when you're addressing Canadian professionals. So be a friend of fear of unknown, and be ready to adapt. Next slide, please. Okay, so today we'll be learning about the 6 LinkedIn myths, and I'll be demystifying all of them. So can I have next slide, please? So the first one is, and which is a very, very common one, that LinkedIn is treated as a job board. It is treated as a platform where a job seeker comes, they make a profile, which is basically a copy paste of your resume, and that's it. You go and formally click, 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 apply jobs. So that is a usual perception. Yes, that perception was there pre 2017. After 2017, Microsoft took over the parent company of LinkedIn. Microsoft took over LinkedIn, and from 2017 onward, there has been a radical vision shift to how LinkedIn is treated in Canada. Since 2017, LinkedIn has become, as I mentioned, a social networking platform where professionals from all spheres and areas come to connect, converse, and it's like more of a community hub. So it's no longer a job board in Canada. It is treated as a recruiter's tool to vet talent and to find talent. So when your audience is there, try to make your digital presence so irresistible that they want to talk to you. So in Canada, LinkedIn is a top choice for online professional personal branding and networking. By personal branding means that if you create a social presence of yourself, social professional presence of yourself, you are able to connect with the other person. You are able to establish a thought leadership in the minds of the audience. So this is how LinkedIn is perceived in Canada. It's not a job board. Can I have next slide, please? The second myth, which a lot of newcomers have, that LinkedIn is your online resume. No, LinkedIn is not your online resume. There is a difference between a resume and LinkedIn presence. Resume in Canada is a targeted professional or marketing tool which you customize based on each job description. For example, there is one job you want to apply for, you take that job description, customize your resume, and then apply for the job. When it comes on LinkedIn, so resumes is speaking to one employer, one job description. LinkedIn presence is speaking to probably 4 or 5 dream targeted companies or dream targeted employers that you want to work for. So the LinkedIn presence has to be a sweet spot of different things. And I'll be talking about that in next slide, which speaks to all 4 or 5 employers, yet making you very unique in your professional expertise, knowledge, and skills. So how you can do that, you can definitely refer to one of my earlier presentation, which I made last month about LinkedIn profile optimization. That will give you a little snapshot of how you can make your presence felt. But definitely LinkedIn is not your resume. LinkedIn is speaking to 4 or 5 employers. One resume speaks to only one employer and one job description. Also, the second aspect is that resume is a very highly targeted professional tool where you need to be all professional. LinkedIn profile needs to reflect a little bit of your expertise, but it needs to reflect more of your personal self as well. It need to reflect your what soft skill you bring on table, and there is a beautiful way you can do that on LinkedIn. So it needs to be conversational. So that's the second difference between resume and LinkedIn. So please don't treat LinkedIn just as resume. Treat this as a social networking platform where you can present yourself as a personality, sell yourself with your soft skill and technical skills, which both are really very important when it comes to hiring decisions. Can I have next slide, please? Okay, now these, I basically follow 3-step process to make your LinkedIn presence irresistible for Canadian employers. Yes, you can do that as a newcomer. One of the things which I see, and because I have been in this space for past 2 years, mentoring and coaching newcomers, and I've coached 6 newcomers getting their skill-specific first job in Canada. So what I feel is that as newcomers, because I have been a newcomer myself, as newcomers, we shy away from our international experience, primarily because of no Canadian experience myth. We shy away from credentials that we had internationally, and we somehow sound a little unintentionally, we sound like a desperate job seeker. That's the first thing I would say. You have to consciously tell your mind that you should not shy away. Be confident of your stellar credentials that you bring in and build a narrative around what employers want, and project your skills accordingly. And LinkedIn profile is the first step that you need to make sure is all your home is all prepped up, so that your LinkedIn home is your LinkedIn profile, which is under your name. So make sure all the sections are filled up. Again, go back to my previous presentation I did with ACCESS last month. It will shed more light. So have your LinkedIn optimized and personable and conversational LinkedIn to speak to LinkedIn humans as well. Can I have next slide, please? So the first is have a good irresistible LinkedIn profile. Second is, after you have created the profile, you should not stop there. After all, LinkedIn is a social media platform which has its own algorithm. You need to speak to the algorithm so that you become visible in front of LinkedIn human, and that only comes through LinkedIn content creation. By content creation, I mean creating posts and writing articles. Use this tool, use this content tool to speak of your industry, to speak of your profession, to speak of your expertise. And the biggest favor that you can do for yourself as a job seeker, as a newcomer job seeker, is start creating digital presence. Because as I mentioned, LinkedIn, your viewers are there. You have entered into a room of 17 million Canadian professionals. How you will speak to them? You cannot speak to them one-on-one. You can only speak to them through your content. So content creation not only increases your visibility because LinkedIn bot loves it, but also you become visible in front of right people. So you're literally selling yourself to the right audience. So be intentional with what type of content you are creating, because it can be a double-edged sword. So be very, very careful and intentional of what you are speaking and behaving and creating that digital footprint. It can be a very, very distinctive tool for you, but if you do it very wrongly, it can play like a boomerang for you. So be very intentional. Can I have next slide, please? The third myth, which a lot of beginners on LinkedIn or newcomers on LinkedIn, is that LinkedIn is a completely perfect, serious platform. You have to be suited, booted. Yes, it's a professional platform, but professionals are humans. And in Canada, one of an important cultural aspect is that you connect with the other person based on originality, based on authenticity. So same goes for LinkedIn. When you're using LinkedIn to target and speak to Canadian professionals, you have to inculcate a little bit of Canadian cultural understanding, because Canadian professionals have that understanding. They are nurtured with that understanding. So not only you can use LinkedIn to reflect your technical expertise, but also you can connect with them at human level, and which doesn't mean that you need to be serious all the time. It is now, LinkedIn is now a platform where people are coming and sharing different types of content, and I'll share the snapshot of what type of content they're sharing in professional array. Like, they're not being too informal, but they're sharing and speaking about topics which were never spoken of. Can I have next slide, please? So for example, this is a screenshot I've taken of my activity section. So if you see, I'm talking about professional stuff. I'm talking, sharing my personal experiences. I'm talking about something informal, like recently Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp outage happened. So I talked about that. I'm celebrating a big aha win. So it's a mix and match of different things. So it's kind of showing my personality as a professional, which I will be looked upon in a team setting. So use your content to sell your soft skill as well, because through my content, people would know what are my soft skills. Can I have next slide, please? So as I mentioned, LinkedIn is not a serious platform. It's a community hub where people are coming to network, but definitely your behavior needs to be professional. But you can share any and every topic. Like, for example, LinkedIn is being used to educate, like people are sharing knowledge. If you see on the left, Adam and Ilana are sharing something very serious. It's a platform where people are coming to inspire. Like, I did a post on my journey from being a newcomer, like being in a basement with skeleton furnishing, to where I am right now, being an award winner, being getting my first corporate job, and now an entrepreneur. So, and there was a lot of engagement on this post. People are asking opinions, polls are being used. I'm networking and building connections through lives and through my videos. So it's a community hub where conversations are happening in comments, where conversations are happening through post. So you don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to be serious to be on LinkedIn. Can I have next slide, please? Another thing which is a very, like, people love on LinkedIn is celebrating. So celebrating can be any type of win. For example, you had a vulnerability and you overcome that. You had some downfall and you overcome that. Or you had some professional aha moment. Like recently, one of my newcomer client I coached got his skill specific first job in Canada within 3 to 4 months of landing. So use LinkedIn to present yourself professionally, but you can authentically reflect your personal values without getting too informal. So you need to keep LinkedIn etiquettes in mind as well. Can I have next slide, please? The fourth one is, and it is kind of related to the third one, that it's a very serious platform, so you have to be perfect. So I have already debunked that myth. It's not a serious platform. It's a professional platform, and you don't need to be perfect. What is really important on LinkedIn, and what Canadian professionals or North American professionals or any professionals love, that you're consistent. You are making process. Like if you're starting from level 1 and you go to level 2, level 3, level 4, literally LinkedIn community will celebrate with you. So progress is better than perfection on LinkedIn. What is important that when you are creating content, when you're creating posts or writing article of your industry and professional to exhibit that thought leadership and expertise, make sure that you don't get into that imposter syndrome, that the video needs to be perfect, the picture needs to be perfect. Like you will see an example where like earlier I showed an example. I have shared a picture of me sitting in a basement with a very poor lighting. So what is important that as a beginner, one tip could be for you, any listener out there, would be you can start with text. If you're comfortable with text, then you can elevate to text and visuals. Then you can elevate to text and videos. But you don't need to wait for perfect camera, perfect lighting, perfect piece of text. Just go and explore initially with the text only post and use it intentionally. What is important, I have seen newcomers, they all get convinced and excited about LinkedIn, but then they're just sharing motivational quotes. Motivational quotes are good for inspiring, but remember the goal. Your goal is to create thought leadership in front of people that you are expert in your field. So be intentional of your LinkedIn presence, whether it be your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn content creation, or LinkedIn networking. Otherwise, it's easy to get impulsive and just waste your time, energy, and resources for something that you're not looking for. So this was the second one. Focus on progress rather than perfection on LinkedIn. Can I have next slide, please? So this is an example. Is this picture perfect content? I just shared me sitting in a basement, and I shared this post of my personal experience of moving from a skeleton, like starting from basic. Literally, I left luxurious lifestyle and a very credible job of my origin country. I'm literally starting from scratch, and that's the beginning of every newcomer. And I just shared my experience with my audience, and this was one of the most conversed post of the month. This is not at all perfect, but there was a message there. And the second post, you can see people are fist pumping. So people are sharing professional content, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Can I have next slide, please? Now, I promised you top 5. There is another 6th one that's a bonus, and they both are tied together. The 5th one is LinkedIn myth is that as a newcomer, thoughts come to my mind that I'm just wasting my time on LinkedIn. I've spent 3 months, but people are not accepting my connection request. I recently conducted a research with pre-arrival immigrants and recently landed newcomer, and one of the common feedback I got, Khatija, people don't connect with us. Primarily, we are being judged as newcomer, or we are they don't want to connect with us because we will ask them for something. So yes, these are feedback. These will be your experiences, but it is how you take your rejections. It is how you move forward with a strategy, with a goal, and with a game plan, which will keep you moving and which will yield you results. So you are not wasting time on LinkedIn. Your success really depends on your goal, what strategy you're following, and whether that strategy is based on the expectations and the mindset of Canadian professionals. As I mentioned in my research, when I literally unlayered what newcomers or pre-arrivals were doing, they were doing so many small unintentional mistakes, which are really big no-no when it comes to networking with Canadian professionals on LinkedIn. And these small things we as newcomers do unintentionally. So I will really encourage you to please learn about how this platform works and how Canadian professional mindset works, and set your expectation, goal, and roadmap accordingly, and definitely you will get results. And remember, in any initiative, there will be rejection, but don't take rejection personally. Keep your pipeline filled up, that out of 10, if 4 are not connecting, at least 6 are connecting. Even out of 10, 5 are not connecting, other 5 are connecting. So nurture relationship with them. Second is that the 6th one is that I don't know how this platform works. Definitely, as a newcomer, I am telling you, I didn't know how this platform worked. I learned, I was coached, I read about things. So it is a new learning on how LinkedIn works with Canadian professionals, because audience is new, their mindsets are new, their approach is new. So you have to learn it. I've mentioned 2 things you should learn, at least LinkedIn etiquettes and how Canadian professional mindsets work and what approach you should have. So make sure that you learn, because it will be a total new skill set for you, which will set ground for your professional success even after that first job. Can I have next slide, please? So I'm coming towards the end of my presentation. I'll just quickly leave you with these LinkedIn etiquettes, and it was I have crafted these etiquettes myself, and I call them value mindset etiquettes. And it was featured in one of LinkedIn newsletter by Andrew Siemens. He's a senior editor for job search and career section in LinkedIn, and he featured this. And what are value mindset etiquettes? 4 things you just need to remember when you enter into the LinkedIn world. It should not be about perfection. It should be about progress, and you need to reflect the real you. The real you means not all professional with a filter. You need to reflect your personality, which weaves in your professional goals. So if you have to talk about your passion, your interests, or anything soft skill that you bring on the table which helps you being remembered, display that. Second thing is, when you come on LinkedIn, come from the mindset that you are here to serve your audience. You're not here to ask, because when you serve, you will be trusted, and believe you me, your connections will give back to you. So come from the mindset of, yes, you have a goal you want to do, but you have to earn their trust. For Canada is a trust-based economy, so getting that trust should be all around serving their needs first. And who is your audience? Your employer is your audience, so you need to serve them. And please don't get into number games, how many likes I'm getting, how many so don't get into numbers. These are just vanity metrics. What's really important is that you should be very consistent with your presence, and you will see numbers increasing. I can tell this to you. If you post each day, your life is going to change. Also, be intentional with people you connect with. Don't just connect with anyone. Be intentional, industry specific people, or who you want to connect with and nurture relationship with. And remember, again, I'm leaving this, it's a value mindset. It's not about you. At the end, it's about you. But initially, for nurturing of relationship, it's all about serving employers' need, the connection needs, the community needs on LinkedIn. Can I have next slide, please? Also, when you enter the LinkedIn world, make sure that you're leaving the mindset of Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, like you leave it out of the room. This world is definitely for professionals who have professional goals. So there is a certain way to behave. So keep that in mind. So how you should behave, next slide will elaborate that. So when you're talking of donuts, on informal platforms, you can probably take a selfie of yourself and put a very informal kind of casual caption. But when we are talking about LinkedIn, you are coming here with some professional goals. So you need to behave and talk in that way. Can I have next slide, please? So taking the same subject, donut, you come on LinkedIn with a professional mindset that you want to talk about opening a new franchise one day. You're looking for a job in a donut company, or you are talking about your experiences with donut production factory, or what are your top skills, or sharing recommendations from former donut colleagues. So this is the difference between other platforms and LinkedIn. How you should behave. I think so I've categorically shared these 2 beautiful slides, which sets the pace for you. Can I have next slide, please? Last but not the least, you have got a stellar LinkedIn profile, which is optimized to speak to the LinkedIn bot. You have written it beautifully based on a career goal. You have created content of your thought leadership. Third is now you will start connecting. And on LinkedIn, I can tell you, as a Canadian professional who use LinkedIn for business, and I get organic leads because I nurture relationship with the right people. Like you can see this diagram, the first set of connections. When I nurture relationship with only these 3 people, I know that I will be able to leverage their network. So once I'm a trusted partner of these 3 first-degree connections, believe you me, they will bring their network and economic opportunities to me. And this is how I get my organic leads for my business. So believe in the power of networking. Networking is for life in Canada. So come on LinkedIn and do networking, whether on LinkedIn or any platform. And remember that this will help you not only in your second, third, but fourth and fifth promotions as well. Because as I mentioned, once your trust is created, your network will give back to you. Can I have next slide, please? So I've already talked about the roadmap which you can take, create a LinkedIn profile optimization. There are certain things that you should enable of your LinkedIn social media platform. There are certain features which will increase your visibility in searches, recruiter searches, and write it well. Write it from the lens of your employer and not your own lens. Because how Canadian employers read you is very different from how it was done in your origin country. I can vouch for it. It is 360-degree different. So you need to learn how Canadian, specifically hiring managers and recruiters, think, and they want to see certain elements in your presence or LinkedIn profile. Create intentional content and then start networking with people. Don't just connect. That's the biggest mistake newcomers do. Don't just connect. Please converse with them. Relationship are based on conversation, not just connection. And if you're struggling with conversing with stranger profile, connect with me. I'll help you out. Can I have next slide, please? I leave last with this note. LinkedIn branding is an investment tool for your professional success. Focus on creating your thought leadership brand and sustainable relationship. Sustainable means not just connecting, but conversing to become trusted partner. That should be your goal. Can I have next slide, please? And just a heads up, as a super bonus for my great audience over here is because I see you are staying consistent from beginning till the end. Relationships means mutual trust and respect, which comes in layers over a period of time. Networking or relationship on specifically remote networking, because they're not seeing you. Your presence is through your profile, your picture, your posts. Because they are not seeing you, it will happen over a period of time. LinkedIn networking will not happen overnight within a week. It takes few months to trust somebody's trust. So please show mutual care and respect, and it will happen over time. So that is the first thing. Second is that never ever ask for anything in your first interaction. Don't take rejection personally. Rejection is a part of a process. Any process that you take, whether it be in your origin country or in a new environment, rejection will happen, but take rejection as a motivation for redirection towards the right opportunity. Learn from it and move on. Keep your pipeline filled up so that if 3 things doesn't happen, 2 things will happen. And those 2 things will open doors for you. Learn about, please, I cannot stress this enough, learn about how remote networking works. If you're a pre-arrival listening to this, use this pre-arrival stage, which is I call the golden stage, that you are in your origin country at the comfort of your home. Use remote networking on LinkedIn, where right now audience attention is like air on air, 50% conversations have increased. So use this time to network, connect and converse with the targeted Canadian professionals, so that as soon as you land, you have that warm relationship and you can convert those conversations into opportunities. So this is my heart-filled, humble request to all the pre-arrivals. But if you have landed, it's never too late. Start with the right mindset and with strategies. That is it from my side. I will end the presentation with the next slide. Can I have next slide, please? I will end the presentation. I am conducting, as I mentioned, I'm conducting research, and I've already spoken to a couple of pre-arrival and recently landed here newcomers. Right now, I'm in a pre-arrival research phase. If you're a pre-arrival immigrant expected to land in 2021 or 2022, please reach out to me. I would love to have one-on-one conversation with you to know your job search and networking needs. Also, I'm conducting a free limited seats webinar in October. You can go to my LinkedIn profile, and in the featured section, there is a sign-in link, or you can direct message me on LinkedIn and I'll send the link directly to you. So these are the two ways we can continue the conversations. Another third way is that I do create content around remote networking and personal branding as a job seeker, primarily for immigrants. You can also stay connected with me through my content as well. So that is it from my side. I will be so happy to take any questions now.
Thank you so much, Khatija. We'll leave this slide on as we ask questions. So I see some people have already posted into the Q&A. People who are interested, please go ahead and type your questions into the Q&A tab. And the first question here is, the more you post on LinkedIn, the more mistakes you're probably making, and more ideas can be criticized. What do you think of that?
Okay, whoever has given this question, it's a beautiful question. And this goes in any sphere of life. Whoever has written this, whenever you're trying something new, you can, of course, learn about it. Let's say an example that I want to pivot to a new career in a completely new field. I have got a certification and a degree, but when I'm going for that first interview, when I'm going for that first resume customization, mistakes will happen. We are bound to do that. But what is important is getting the mentorship or getting the guidance that you can catch those blocks earlier and you can refine and define them. So getting coaching, mentorship earlier really accelerates your results. You don't go into that wasting of time and trial and error. So definitely, if you're coming on LinkedIn, you're creating content, as I mentioned, focus on progress. Imposter syndrome will definitely be there. But again, focus on progress rather than perfection. There will be mistakes, learn from it and evolve. And if there are trollers trolling you, I can vouch for that because I'm on all the social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I can tell you from my experience being a social media consultant who work with immigrant on their social digital presence, who work with small business entrepreneurs for past 3 years, LinkedIn is the platform where you will find the least trolling. You will find people who are literally uplifting the beginners. And if you just go and just write this post that this is my first LinkedIn profile, you will see the kind of celebration your community will celebrate with you. LinkedIn is a platform which literally empowers the beginners. So you won't find that much of trolling on LinkedIn. I can vouch you for that. But if you do, be humble, present your point of view, but be humble because remember, you're being watched by the employers. So agree to disagree, give a fact, but in a very, very humble tone. So that would be my advice to you.
Thank you. Next question here is, what is trolling?
Trolling is a social media term where you will find people who agree to disagree with you, but in a very, very not good language or way. As I mentioned, you will find on LinkedIn, because the crowd that comes on LinkedIn is a professional crowd. So you will find trolling very, very minimal. In my experience, I haven't had any. I've been creating content on LinkedIn since 2017. Yes, you will find people who agree to disagree. Like when I post, and you can see my activity just now, I did few posts and there were people who were disagreeing based on their experiences. I replied to them with my point of view, facts, and I left the space for them to leave with dignity. That is really important. So trolling is something not so good. They agree to disagree, but in a not a good language way. So on LinkedIn, you will not find something like that, what you see on Facebook or other channels.
Thank you. Next question is it okay to change your location on LinkedIn before you land in Canada?
Okay, this is one of the frequently asked questions I get in my coaching program as well, because I have pre-arrival immigrants in my coaching program. My advice to pre-arrival immigrants is that if you are in 3 months mark of landing, like you have got your COPR and you have made a plan that you will be landing, let's say in January or in December, and you are using LinkedIn with the goal to network with Canadian professionals who can refer you to some company or some job, then definitely I will highly advise you to achieve that goal, change your settings 3 months prior, because LinkedIn is a social media platform, and how social media platform works is based on certain things at the back end, and one of the thing is they pick up geographic specific searches. So if anybody is searching for, let's say, social media consultant, and my geographics is Canada, so it will pick up Canadian specific profiles. So yes, changing your geographics increase your visibility in front of right recruiter searches in Canada, and you can scale yourself properly. So my advice would be that do change your geographics based on the goal that you have set pre-arrival. But again, there are a lot of different situations. Like I had a client who said that, Khatija, I'm expected to land soon, but I cannot give that impression to my current employer because I don't know how it would be. It's a pandemic, whether I'll get a job or not. So he was a little, so we had to work around something while he got the best out of LinkedIn, but it didn't give the signals to his current employer. So again, it depends on what are your goals, how you want to use it. But my advice is do change your geographics, because it will increase your visibility in front of right Canadian searches.
Thank you. Next question is, when will you be hosting a session on how to use LinkedIn?
On how to use LinkedIn, I am conducting this free webinar. So right now I'm inviting people. I'm in an invitation. So I'll be conducting this one at the end of October. So you can go sign up. The link is in my LinkedIn featured section. So just go click that link, put up your email, and you'll be in my email list. You can expect to hear from me in the 3rd week of October, which is next week. Something will be happening in the 4th week of October.
Thank you. I would like to be more active on LinkedIn and post articles consistently, but I'm not sure what topics to begin with.
Oh, that is a great one. I love this question, whoever asked it. Content creation on LinkedIn, just like any content creation, is an art in itself. But what is really important is that content creation takes time. Like, it's not just like one fine, like sometimes you get inspired and you do write instantly, but it's a process and you need to be structured and intentional. Otherwise, I can tell you and guarantee you that LinkedIners on Canada, they create so much of content that the content is so irresistible that you can literally spend hours on LinkedIn. I used to do that. I used to be on LinkedIn like 4 to 5 hours because it was such an irresistible content. But then I was mindful that I have a business to run. I have a coaching client. So I got very intentional of the time which I was spending. What topics you should write needs to be coming out from your goal. So if your goal is that you want to be remembered for, as like, for example, my goal is to be remembered as a social media consultant in Dash space. So the content ideas will come out from that goal. So I would say write your goal and then think about the topics. And if your goal is to land a skill specific job, like I want to land a social media consultant job with, let's say, Big 4 companies, then I would definitely look into what the employers are looking for. And I'll try to kind of create some content around that. I hope it helps.
Thank you. How do you post articles on LinkedIn? Like, where do you go? How do you navigate to get there?
Okay, so on LinkedIn, once you have, like, if you are a very beginner, I will quickly tell you what the first step you should do. The first step is that you need to have a LinkedIn profile. So you don't know what is a LinkedIn profile. Just like on Facebook, you have a Facebook profile under your name. So that's the first step. You need to make a LinkedIn profile under your name with your picture, and you need to fill 10 plus sections, but fill them very, very mindfully around your objectives. And if you need any help, you can definitely connect with me later and I can help you around that. So once you have written that, I'm sorry, I missed on the question. Sonia, can you repeat that again?
How do you post an article on LinkedIn?
Okay, so once you have made the LinkedIn profile, it gives you accessibility to post. So once you go and click on create post, it will give you few icons. So these are like a self-triggered icon. Either you can create a post or you can write an article. So go and click on article and you can write a blog post, literally like a blog post. You have certain character limits around that, but you can write a long article, and that is considered as a LinkedIn article. So LinkedIn article is different from a LinkedIn post. LinkedIn article is stays there for long. LinkedIn post sometimes gets lost. LinkedIn is working on that, but posts basically build upon each other, so they go very much down in the pile. LinkedIn article stays on the top. So how you can access it: once you create your profile, click on create post, and once it will take you through self triggered icons to the article. So click on article and you'll be able to write that.
Thank you. Why do you need something with a picture?
Why do you need something with a picture? Is it about the profile picture you're talking about, or the picture when you're writing content?
I
It
think when
depends.
you're writing content.
Okay. See, it's research. Visual speaks louder than words. Like, it's research. So when you're writing any text, if it is accompanied by a picture, it increases that resonance, it increases that relevance. Your mind is saying, okay, like for example, if you see this slide, if I would have taken out my picture and just the text was written, probably that relatability might not have been there. But because I have put up my picture that you will be speaking to me, if you come on my LinkedIn profile, if you are interested in, like, even thinking about speaking to me, my face adds value to what I bring on table. So same reason and rationale: when you write text plus visual post, it gets higher engagements. When you write text plus video post, it gets more higher engagement because video adds depth. Versus the visual. So video adds depth to how you speak, how you resonate with the audience. So it adds more authenticity, I would say, in relating with the audience. So yes, all these are medium. Text is a medium, visual is a medium, video is a medium. Choose what you are comfortable with on LinkedIn. Text posts also do good on LinkedIn. So you can start with text.
The picture that you're talking about, should it be a professional picture or like a social picture? Like, it shouldn't be a picture of yourself. So maybe, Khadija, you want to just kind of reiterate what you just said? It shouldn't be a picture of yourself. It should be a picture about the content.
Yeah. If she's talking about profile picture, which goes on the top of your profile, then definitely it needs to be professional you, like all neutral background. It needs to reflect how you want to be remembered in front of your audience. But if you're talking about the picture which goes with your content, definitely it needs to resonate with what you're talking about. So I hope I answered either or whatever she was referring to as picture.
I think so. Okay, so I think that's all questions we have today. Khadija, would you like to say anything else before we move forward?
Yes, I would love to say a big thank you to ACCES, to you, Sonia, and to my audience who have been there from the beginning till the end. And I'll just say, hang in there. You will accomplish your career goals. Is just the right mindset is a big piece. Mindset, right strategy, and trying to understand and having realistic expectations. And if you at any time need any assistance in using LinkedIn the right way, if you want to learn about LinkedIn, on how you can attract those economic opportunities, please reach out to me. As I mentioned, I'm conducting research, I'm doing a webinar, and we can always converse on my post on LinkedIn. So that is it from my side. I'll see you on another digital platform.